Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high-level game of StarCraft 2. Today we have Ragnarok here in the bottom left spawning as our blue Zerg player versus in the top right our red Terran player. It's going to be Shopify Rebellion's Byun. Ragnarok still playing for the Alpha X team, of course. Fantastic player. Now Byun is one of these guys where if you think of his career, he's always been good, right? He's always been a fantastic player. 2016 he wins BlizzCon. With Reapers, 2-1-1, fantastic micro against Zerg fairly often. And then after a while he goes to the military, comes back, does okay in tournaments, he performs relatively well, but never gets this big type of performance in an offline tournament, or like in either the GSL or in the DreamHack Valencia that we recently had, Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. We don't get the sick runs that we kind of want out of Byun. Right now, though, he's in a shape that I don't think we've seen him in quite a while. He won 3 ESL Open Cups Korea. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot, of course. It's still an online tournament. But he's been performing well. He managed to get out of his GSL group as well, which, once again, might actually be expected. But he did do it, and it's important. I hope that this season we get to see a very deep run out of him. Of course, not just as his teammate, but also because I think he's a player that is generally very well liked. And I believe he's been underperforming a little bit. And if you have a fan favorite that's underperforming a little bit, I always believe that to be a little bit sad. So yeah, I just hope that he gets that big offline performance in either a GSL, Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, perhaps the upcoming DreamHack Atlanta that will happen somewhere at the end of November. I want to say it's like 18 November till 21 or something along those lines. One of the final weeks of November for sure. Enough about Byun. Let's talk about his build orders instead. And we see a command center first, followed up with a 2 racks. This is something that we've seen a lot of Terran players do recently. Just the command center first in general as a concept seems to be extremely popular with the Korean Terrans especially. Often followed up by 2 base all-ins, sometimes 2 base all-ins that last longer than a regular macro game would. We've seen like 10, 11, 12 minute 2 base all-ins, which is great. And we have a Marine into Reactor Tech Lab on these barracks. 6 links are being sent out as Ragnarok scouted the command center, and this is his response. Now, if you scout something and then have a certain response prepared, that response should be really good. So I'm curious what this is going to be. If these roaches move across the map and get absolutely blasted by the Marines that Byun is already producing, this build is garbage and the response is garbage. Because he had all the info before making the calls, right? Important to remember. Now, first Marine is in a little bit of trouble here. Second Marine being sent down as well. SCVs are helping out. I think 1 Marine here is going to fall for sure. 6 more roaches are in production right now. Or 6 roaches are on production. 27 workers against 21. There's a lot of Marine production here. No bunker yet coming out. Factory instead here being built for Byun. Ooh, this is kind of scary. I like it though. Depot has been forgotten, so a depot drop might be a necessity and not a mere luxury. It's gonna wait instead for the depot to finish in the natural. Means that the Marine production is going to be delayed by a little bit. We have 6, 7 Marines out right now, and that is going to be it for a defense. Against 4 Roaches and 2 Ravagers, I'm not so sure if that's going to be enough. We'll know for sure that one of the depots is going to get taken out, maybe even force a cancel here on that command center. Double mules, I mean, you can still pull the SCVs, which is nice. Here we go, depot is going to get taken out. Second depot is also under siege here. Immediate cancel on that command center as Byun right now moving into a supply block. Marauder production starts. Marines are on the high ground here in combination with the SCVs. Might be capable of just pushing this back. Marines are being targeted down though by the Roaches and the Ravagers, and Byun in a little bit of trouble. No micro on the Roaches, morphing them into Ravagers at the last second to block a lot of damage. But at the end of the day, 3rd base cancel, 2 depots being taken out, and 8 SCVs also being cleared. That's kind of a big deal. 1 more SCV is going to get taken out. Perhaps 1 more with a little bit of target fire. The answer is going to be no to that. 9 SCVs, 2 depots, a cancelled command center, 12 Marines as well, and now we finally have that depot drop here on the high ground. Had that happened earlier, Byun might have had 2-3 more Marines against that initial push. Of course, Marines build extremely fast with a building time of only 18 seconds. I think he had to wait for at least 9 or 10 seconds, so definitely could have had maybe 2-3 extra Marines there. Painful, is the way it is. Starport has finished up. Command Center is now on the way. This game is by no means over. Don't forget that the Queen count is going to be extremely low. As well as the third base. Some epic delays on that third base. A Baneling nest being constructed. Lots of gas mining already going down. This could just go into 1-1 roaches, but then we also see the link speed and the Baneling nest. I wouldn't actually have minded 1-1 roaches here very much. I think it would have been a nice call. 5 queens are out currently. And these queens should be capable of dealing with this Liberator. Honestly, you can just need 1 queen to deal with a Liberator, because Liberators are practically stationary units when they attack. As long as you move your drones and your queens out of range of the Lib, you're going to be just fine. Ragnarok has spotted it. I think it was with his Overlord. He's moving with the queens into position right now. Spreading out more Overlords as well, not believing there's going to be a Viking follow-up. That would be very nice, just to get a little bit of map hack going here on the map with these Overlords, of course. Liberator tries to move into position, as Byun's already taking some damage on that. Slightly unfortunate. It's now 14 Marines and 2 Marauders are out. First 2 Medivacs will pop. Combat Shield, well, done as well. So this is going to be a timing without upgrades, or at least without attack upgrades, but with both the Tech Lab upgrades. So both Stim and Combat Shield are going to be finished. The Link count is rather low. The Queen count also is rather low. Queens are like these things that you truly do need. Queens are like the toilet paper, you know? Sometimes you feel like you can skip out on buying toilet paper, but it never really works out. It really never does. You can't have enough toilet paper in your house. You can't have too many queens either. Like, unless you really, like 35 queens is too much and 35 boxes of toilet paper, but you're gonna finish it. It's not a product that you won't need anymore all of a sudden. Unless you own a bidet, of course. I still think that you probably need some toilet paper, though. Not entirely sure how that works. Never really used a bidet. 18 Banes being produced here. Queen Spores all in good positions. It's actually also a really solid defense. I thought it was going to be way harder of a defense here for Ragnarok, but he seems to be in a fine spot, at least for now. Byun just looks kind of pathetic when it comes to the infrastructure. Triple Rex producing, 2 more on the way, 1-1 halfway done as well. Upgrades are going to be faster for the Zerg. Worker count's going to be higher for the Zerg. Creep spread is okay, I guess. Decent enough. And the overall army supply is fantastic for Zerg. So Zerg is ahead or even in basically everything, any metric that you have in StarCraft 2. And that's usually not a good thing for Terran. Now, Terran has some strong defensive capabilities, and Byun is one of these players that is extremely strong when behind. I always feel like he really manages to squeeze water out of stone the moment he is behind. Way more so than if he's ahead. Like, I think he's good when he's ahead as well, but when he's behind, that's when we get to see the top level Byun. Oh, there we go. Picks everything up. He's not going to lose anything. He's just so careful with his units. Solid defensive setups. Eventually transitions into Ghost, which really... Back in the day, I want to say that the Reaper was really Byun's unit, right? And he was known for his aggressive strategies, insane target fire on rolling Banelings, like these centrifugal hooks Banes, even on creep. But nowadays, I feel like it's more so the Ghost and the game, like kind of the game sense, the decision making in that late game is just so darn solid. Really understands what needs to be done in them scenarios. He's going to pick up a couple of Banes here. I think there was 2 or 3, ends up losing maybe half a Marine. So overall a decent trade. Ragnarok researching Burrow, getting Infestation Pit. Starts to kind of transition into a later game, but with a mid-game drone count. And that is interesting, because it makes me believe that he still wants to try and poke, but also that his heart isn't really in it. Yeah. He's building a lot of links, and then there's a hive. But it's only 76 workers. It really is going to be not really an all-in, but like a high pressure, basically. Very, very hard pressure it's going to be. Manufacturers are going to pick up over here. These bad boys are still alive as well. And Byun's kind of controlling the pace of the game and also controls what happens on the map with these medevacts. Not capable of clearing creep, but just keeping his opponent back. He wants to grow his tank count here, and I think that is probably a correct call. If there's going to be a timing here for Ragnarok, it's going to be the moment 2-2 finishes, right? He wants to hit that ASAP. He's also maxing out at around the same time, so this feels like a rather natural timing that you can hit. Add on to that a fourth base is being taken as all of these upgrades and that the gigantic max supply happens. This actually feels really good here. Oh! One bile is going to hit. Byun not really paying attention there. It's not going to lose a medevac, because it only was a single bile and not 2 biles. Really does kind of feel like... Ooh, I love this. It really does kind of feel, though, that Ragnarok is missing a timing window here. Should probably be morphing like 10, 15 more Banes and just kind of shoot it. He's on 73 workers. He's kind of stuck in the middle between either attacking into a late game with a high worker count or attacking right now. I just don't quite understand it. I am fairly confused at this point. I mean, 73 workers is really very little workers for a Zerg who's playing Ling Bane. Like, if you're already in like a maxed out Broodlord army with infestors with it, 72 workers is completely fine. But with this, you want to trade a lot, this type of army. It feels like Ragnarok just gave Byun a late game for no real reason. And he also gave Byun a late game in which Byun is up in eco. Which also, once again, just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, here you go, my friend, you're behind. That's fine. Let me score a couple of own goals, and just like that, we're pretty much tied again. Maybe this is how Ragnarok wants to prove how much better he is than his opponent. Just wants to win the game multiple times within the same game. First you win in the early game, then you kill the third base, show potential that you can win in the mid game, and then you also win in the late game. And you allow your opponent to come back every single time. Maybe even get a favorable position. It would be quite something. Look at the amount of fights that we had so far this game. 12 minutes into the game. This is insane. Ragnarok is just waiting for a 5th base to be built. Does not want to engage into this 4-base setup, but I feel like attacking into a 140 supply Terran while up 2 upgrades is better than attacking into a maxed out Terran, maybe being slightly out of position near a 5th. Sure, this position is difficult to break, but earlier there weren't as many tanks. You didn't have all these structures to deal with. The upgrades were pretty bad for the Terran, and you were up 60-ish supply, so I'm confused. Now he's going up to 84, deciding that yes, money is pretty nice. I do want it. Could have been making this money years ago. Well, minutes ago. Ages ago. A couple of banelings have been burrowed. He was just waiting for a move out. It was fairly obvious for people who have been watching Byun lately that if Byun is behind, he's not going to be moving out. So I feel like the burrow banes, they're cute, but it's just not really going to work, is it? We'll see a scan here, or maybe even just see the turret finish up. We'll end up spawning at least these banes. I mean, afterwards, you're going to need to scan for the creep anyway. Burrowing banes on creep is absolutely useless. It's like a trick that makes no sense whatsoever. You know that Terrans are always going to be scanning for creep anyway. This is a rather passive game at this point. Ragnarok is going to go in now, I guess. Or at least thinks he wants to go in. I feel like he's saving up for a fantastic fight. But the army composition of his opponent has changed so much right now that getting a cost-efficient fight or a decent fight just makes no sense. It really makes no sense. Okay, here we go. It's gonna come in from at least multiple angles, but this is in a planetary, like 8 tanks set up. Thors will shoot. Banes will take out a planetary that was over here. 5 SCVs also get taken out. Resource loss-wise was okay. But was this really what we were building up towards? At the same time we have a single drop. It really felt like someone that, was saving up a nice bottle of wine, some people, they have this bottle of wine from like 1961 from the north of France and some of the best grapes that you've ever tasted, They're just saving up this bottle for years. And then when they're finally ready to pop it, they actually accidentally drop it on the floor and they need to lick it off the floor. They will still lick it off the floor and enjoy the taste, but it's not quite as good as they would have expected. It feels that way with that last fight. Like, sure, the taste of that fight was okay, but There should have been a winning fight before that already. And once again, we're seeing fights that aren't bad necessarily for Ragnarok. And this might be somewhat okay. Oh, actually, that fight was really bad. What am I kidding? Holy crap. I was looking at the slime like, wait, let's take a look at the units lost there. He lost all of his Banes there. He had just been saving up to really throw away his entire army into tanks. You got a couple more orbitals on the way. He just gave his opponent so much time. So much, I just don't understand that. Once again, if you want to go into a late game with a high drone count, huge bank, and mine the entire map before your opponent takes a fifth, I could kind of understand that, but he didn't even push his eco lead that far. He was stuck on 72, 73 works for a long time. Once again, he's going in for a fight right now. Needs to hold position. A lot of these Banelings rolling in. Will they be capable of catching the Ghost? No. They will get a lot of the SCVs though, and this was a way better fight than the one we saw before. Oh, might he eventually even get that command center? Will not. 63 workers for Byun, and Byun also losing a lot of the supply lead. Or, well, not really the lead, but the supply that he had built up over time. Never truly had a lead. Oh, one tank on the high ground is going to get taken out. Relatively calm movement here out of Ragnarok. Once again, is going to go in. Tanks shifting their attention towards the bottom side. These two tanks are on the exact same spot and will most likely get taken out by the same vials. There we go. Orbital command will burn down to the ground. There's another command center here that could potentially burn. Planetary Fortress on the top side will ensure there's a little bit of mining going on over there. Ragnarok throwing away a lot of his resources, but also is actually making something happen. Maybe perhaps with another fight he can actually make it work. Don't forget he still has so much mining on the map, beyond barely mining off of what, 5 bases. He's even mining off 5 bases. This base just needs to be repaired, yeah. It's ridiculous. You can't start mining from that. Not with Hydras around, it's impossible. A couple of Biles can hit as well. Tanks are going to get blinding clouded here. At the same time, we have a big Baneling run by towards this bad boy. Planetary will get taken out. Ghost on the right side should be capable of eventually cleaning this up. But the tank count has been diminished massively. We only have 3 tanks remaining right now. All of them are positioned on that left side. Resources loss-wise, this was an okay-ish fight until he lost those 2 Vipers into turrets. Ragnarok opting for a drop? Not into the turrets, right? I don't really see that. I just kind of hope he doesn't drop them. I think that might be a bit of a death trap for the Lynx. Another run by into a bunch of tanks. Ghosts are in position as well. Okay, here come the drops. Maybe with a Viper to blinding cloud it. Oh my god. Does he have the turret range? Does not have the turret range. Even without turret range, like 4 Overlords will die before. That would not be good. Okay, Ghost not quite sure where to move. Kind of like the non-committed mining that Byun is doing here. Saying, hey, I don't actually want a defense here. I'm just going to defend in good positions. This is not it, no? No way. It's going to lose Tufu. Oh my god. What is this? This is ridiculous. 12 links came in out of the 40 that were in the Overlords. He's still going to bust the left side, but surely that link drop wasn't actually a successful move. He's just trying to style on his opponent. This is insane. But actually insane. Resources lost still in favor of Byun. Takes out a base as well. Going in for a bit of a desperate all-in attack, it seems like. Here on the right side. Still some links in the main as well. I mean, once this army gets cleaned up, what does Byun really have left? Still is going to continue mining. We have 9 orbitals. Holy crap. Okay, I didn't quite expected that. 9? Come on, you gotta pick up the Ghost. You gotta, you know, I'm sorry for the Marines and the Hellbats, but you pick up the Ghost and you leave. Yeah. I guess Thor is going to die as well. It is what it is. I still believe Ragnarok is going to win this game, but this has been kind of ridiculous, honestly. Couple of mules going to rain out. Oh my god, couple of mules. Freaking 11 mules raining out of the sky. If Byun gets the mine here, it's gonna go up to 4.5, 4.6, maybe even 4.7, 4.7k mineral income. Another orbital command gets landed. Could turn it into a planetary fortress. Eventually, Ragnarok's actually broke. He has no more cash. No way, right? It's gonna go in here. This should be somewhat of a good fight. Ghosts are in position. Tanks in the far back. Viper's not going to hit. Oh no! Another terrible engagement here for Ragnarok. who, after seeing the success of the first drop, decided that, you know what? Maybe if I get more than 1/10 of my units in, it's going to be successful. Now that the turrets are gone, this is actually not that bad of an idea. It's going to also move forward here into this planetary that is morphing. 2 tanks in the far back. Banelings will get taken out by the tanks. Planetary will also get taken out. Lurker drop in the main base, though, that's a big one here, because Byun is not in position for, well, practically anything. He wasn't in position for the initial attack. He's not in position for the drop either. Is there enough here for Byun to want to go back into the main? Or should we just lift every structure and say, maybe next year? No, GG gets called. The Ragnarok wins this, but what a struggle it has been. Felt like he was really trying his absolute best to lose the MMR in this game here in the end. Does manage to get it with a lurker drop. This was close though. Way closer than should have been. After this early game, he was up freaking 40 supply and up in upgrades. Something you never see. Well, I guess a win is a win, and we'll leave it to that. That's going to be it from me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye. Bye.